I'm sure we have all fallen once before in our lives and healed without much issues. However, as we get older, falls become more hazardous. In fact, falls account for 40% of injury-related deaths. 1 in 3 elderly above the age of 65 years old fall every year. For those who are lucky enough to escape death, falls can also lead to other dire consequences like head injuries, fractures, and mental health disorders like depression and anxiety. It's ironic that institutions of care like hospitals are no stranger to falls, and a whopping 34% of inpatient falls happen in the toilet. There are already direct measures in place, like nurses standing right beside patients when they use the loo. However, this method causes the patient to feel uncomfortable during their toileting session. Additionally, nurses also have their own jobs to attend to, like doing administrative work and attending to call bells of other patients. But if they have to run off quickly to attend to these while toileting, they have no way of knowing what the patient is doing. Therefore, there needs to be a better way to strike a balance between patient safety and privacy during the whole toileting process. To tackle this problem, Toilet Buddy was born. Toilet Buddy can be used for both ambulatory patients and those on the commode chair, but we will show you how it works with the commode chair today. When the nurse wheels the patient to the toilet, they will align the wheels on the rock design on the wait pad and lock the chair in place. Once the patient is settled in, the nurse would then step out of the toilet if the patient does not want to be accompanied. He would then use this time to enter the patient's bed number into the system and start the toileting session. The system comprises of 3 sensors for posture detection and preemptive action detection. First, we have the MLX 90640 thermal camera, which is able to capture dynamic low-resolution frames without compromising on patients' privacy. AI is then applied on these frames to detect sitting, standing, or bending. A more comforting, homely, floral design was given to the storage case, which was accompanied by the poster to educate patients on the purpose of the thermal camera. Next, we have the vibration sensors, which calculates the rate of toilet paper use or the bidet use to detect preemptive actions. Next, we have the weight sensors, which register weight differences to determine if the patient is sitting or standing. The weight pad comes with an intuitive pawn design that marks out the sensitive areas of the weight pad with the rock designs to encourage ambulatory patients to step on them, and for nurses to align the commode chair correctly. Once the session has started, this is where the magic happens. Using these 3 sensors, patient activity is determined via a rule-based approach. Subsequently, different audio-visual notifications will also be provided to the nurses, depending on their activity. If the patient is sitting, a green notification appears telling the nurse that no intervention is required, as the patient is safe. If the patient is doing preemptive actions like getting toilet paper or using the bidet, the Get Ready screen would appear, with a friendly sound to remind the nurses to come as soon as possible. The nurse would hear the sound and see the yellow screen and prepare to assist the patient. Once the patient confirms he is done, he will end the session and assist the patient back to the bed. But let's rewind the clock for a bit. What if the patient decides to assist himself back to bed? In the case where the patient decides to get up on his own, the notification would change to a more urgent sound, telling the nurse to come now. In the unfortunate case where the patient loses his balance and falls, the notification of the highest urgency is displayed with a more fast-paced sound, indicating to the nurses to come immediately. Upon the end of all toileting sessions, the data is then stored in the post-monitoring dashboard on the nurse's desktop that is accessible to the entire ward. Meaningful visualizations are generated on the post-monitoring dashboard to highlight the patients who adopt more high-fall risk postures and also to identify the frequency of toilet usage across the ward and for individual patients. Patient logs can also be edited if corrections need to be made, exported for future reference, and also resetted upon patient discharge. With Toileting Buddy, We hope to prevent falls, one patient at a time.